Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 16 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. As I mentioned in the earlier episode today, I wanted to get 2 episodes because of the fact that I missed one yesterday, so hope you guys enjoyed the content, and I'm going to do my best to continue it up with the daily uploads. Anyway, from where we left off earlier this morning, we were able to break the 1800s mark, which was pretty sweet. That was kind of my goal using Enosh's team, and we were able to achieve it. Let's see if we can continue to sustain that, because we do need 2 wins to really stay around there. Otherwise, you know, at this point in the ladder, a win gets you less points and a loss brings you down a little bit more. But obviously, you know, this is just all for fun, and hopefully we get some high quality matches. But once again, thank you to Enosh for lending me his team. You can go follow him on Twitter at Enosh, E-N-O-S-H, and then his last name, S-H-A-C-H-A-R, also in the description below. And yeah, we'll be moving on to a new team pretty soon. If you have any recommendations or suggestions for what you'd like to see, definitely let me know in the comments below as well. I'm pretty open to trying out everything. There is about like a month or so until US Nationals, so I'll be practicing pretty hard soon as well, but you know, would like to try some fun stuff on Road to Ranked. We're going to find Ryoku from Australia for our first opponent of the day, and as always, if you enjoy Road to Ranked, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. Would really appreciate it. Anyway, this is a pretty cool double primal team here, because typically you see, you know, Thunderous on this team composition, but instead we actually see Zapdos and Bronzong as opposed to, you know, Cresselia, which we see dual primals more commonly paired with nowadays. So Kangaskhan, Groudon, Zapdos, Bronzong, Salamence, and Kyogre. So Weavile is a really nice Pokemon against a dual primal matchup because of its ability to, 1, outspeed and 1-hit KO the Salamence. And if they end up not bringing Mens, then you can just Ice Cold Crash Zapdos or knock off Bronzong, and Fake Out Pressure is always really good as well. So, definitely going to want to lead with Weavile. Now, Kangaskhan is actually kind of tempting, because after I get a Power-Up Punch, I can Double Edge and, you know, outspeed Groudon, Kyogre, and potentially just pick up knockouts. So that's something I always have to consider. You know, Cress is always tempting here, but I really typically haven't brought Cresselia to the matchups just because I like the heavy offense. Ferrothorn's still pretty solid. I mean, normally against Dual Primal, I'll go like Weavile, Rayquaza, Groudon, Ferrothorn, and that's worked pretty well so far. Although, Kangaskhan's a little bit more tempting this time around. But I like being able to Mega Evolve still. So I think I'm actually just going to go with Weavile, Groudon, Rayquaza, Ferrothorn. This feels like one of the strongest leads in terms of high octane offense, because of the Groudon speed. You know, you actually speed tie Kangaskhan off their max speed as well, which, you know, they should be. And then with Weavile, you have Fake Out Pressure, so you can threaten the Fake Out onto Kangaskhan, although that's a little bit scary because, of course, they could have Inner Focus. So, gonna lead with Weavile and Groudon. Let's see if my opponent decides to bring the Kyogre. It's gonna be Kangaskhan and Zapdos as a lead, which I'm okay with. Yeah, I mean, my own Kangaskhan could have been kind of helpful here, but I can't complain too much. What's interesting here now is if Kangaskhan's Inner Focus, he actually can stay in or normal form, not Mega Evolve, and get a Power-Up Punch off, or a Fake Out onto the Groudon slot. So let's see. Giving Kangaskhan Zapdos, I presume Kyogre and Groudon in the back. I think it's highly unlikely I'm gonna get the Eruption that I want to get off here. So I could fake out Kangaskhan, or faking out Zapdos is safer. Like, if you're my opponent, you can switch Zapdos out into Kyogre, which I think would probably be the better play. I mean, I could Ice Cold Crash. No, I don't really like that. I'm going to switch out into Ferrothorn and Earth Power, expecting him to Fake Out or Power Punch Weavile. I'm not sure if I like that play too much, but I don't want to lose Weavile immediately. I don't want him to get a Power Punch off against the Weavile because that's a knockout. Kangaskhan actually switches. Oh, but he might go for the HP Water play, which is something else I was expecting. No. That was something I'd consider, but then I didn't fully think that through. It's not good. If he doesn't go for HP Water, that'd be fantastic. But, I might be losing Groudon here. Yeah. That sucks so much. So I lose Groudon, and that makes this match 10 times harder. It's really something I should have expected. So I'll bring in Weavile now. And I think here I'm actually just going to go for the safe plays of Ice Cold Crashing and Power Whipping. There's not much my opponent can do to prevent what's coming here. Because I've fallen so far in terms of damage, I need to be able to swing momentum back into my favor. And yeah, that was a really predictable hidden power water, but like I said, I was really just expecting the Kangaskhan to go for like a power-up punch. So I should have thought about that turn a little bit better. Yeah, okay, he's actually... Oh, come on! Really? Go for the Icicle Crush, but it misses Zapdos. And he gets a Tailwind up. He's gonna Scald here onto Weavile. If he burns, I'm just done with this game. Okay, no burn at least, but... I mean, that makes such a big difference here because now he gets speed control as well. So frustrating. Icicle Crush might have just knocked out Zapdos, if not done a lot of damage. But, I mean, that's the risk you run when you run Icicle Crash. I think I've lost the game from that. I needed that to connect. At least to get the damage, if not knock it out. Because if I prevent the Tailwind from going out, then Weavile outspeeds my opponent's entire team. Let's see. Leech Seed. Faint, I guess. Yeah. Not a very well played game on my end, though, because of how important Groudon is in this matchup. So, a little bit disappointed. I think Kangaskhan would have been a pretty good Pokemon to bring, but that turn 1 basically made the difference, and that was my fault for not thinking it fully through. But, yeah, really, I'm really not sure whether the Icicle Crash, like the calc there, if it does end up picking up a one-hit KO, then it really changes the course of the match. If it would have survived, then don't think that makes as big of a difference. But I'm still going to try to pull something off here. It's not entirely impossible because I do have Rayquaza in the back. And since I didn't bring Kangaskhan, obviously I can choose to Mega Evolve it. But with the Assault Vest, it makes it pretty hard. Because I don't have Protect. So here I'm just going to Extreme Speed Kyogre. And I don't want to Mega Evolve yet because I want to potentially Waterfall. Oh, should I Dragon Ascent here though? I really would want to decrease my defenses. Actually, wait, no, I was going for the Extreme Speed play. I don't know if that knocks it out in normal form. I might be forced to Mega Evolve. But if I do that, then I just lose. So I'm not going to Mega Evolve. Okay, here's the Extreme Speed. Can I knock out Kyogre? Okay, picks up the knockout at least. Zapdos probably going for a Thunderbolt. Yeah. So I take that relatively well with the Assault Vest, and I get the Gyro Ball off. I would love to see Groudon come in right now. But you should bring in Kangaskhan if you're my opponent. Actually, he might... I mean, the Assault Vest thing, that makes a difference. Well, let's see. He has Citrus Berry. So I think Icicle Crush might have been able to pick up a knockout because he's not sashed. Although Zapdos is pretty defensive. He's going to bring Kangaskhan though. Smart play. Yeah, so all my opponent has to do here is double up into Rayquaza and win the game. So he has to somehow mess up here. Should I Mega Evolve now? I mean, all he has to do is double edge Rayquaza, and that'll be game. So I have to hope he somehow doesn't double edge Rayquaza. But you know, if you're my opponent, your win condition is to eliminate Rayquaza because then Groudon beats the Ferrothorn. Presuming my opponent has Groudon in the back. Yep, here's the Thunderbolt coming out. Do we see a low kick or a double edge? Nope, he's just smart enough to return onto Rayquaza. And that will pick up the knockout. So I wonder if my opponent knows I'm using this team, because otherwise it's kind of a risky play because I can just protect Rayquaza. But, yeah, can't really say for sure. And Gyro Ball there actually doesn't even do 50%. So, unless my opponent's last Pokemon somehow isn't Groudon, this should be a win for him, but, you know, obviously not going to give up here yet. I'll go for the Leech Seed here, because at this point the recovery is more important. So he's going to Thunderbolt into Ferrothorn. Probably low kick as well. Oh, he actually has Power Up Punch. Okay. So I'm okay with that. I mean, he's going to take a lot of recoil damage. from the Iron Barbs, and then if Leech Seed connects as well, I mean, next turn he's going to faint. But Ferrothorn taking over 50%, almost 50% of damage there. But, like, once again, I'm assuming the last one's Groudon, so I've lost this one. And it was that turn 1, really. I should have played safer, assuming HP Water. I'm so paranoid of Hidden Power Water, and that's exactly why. So Ferrothorn's going to be able to heal up a very nice amount here, and then I can protect the next turn as well. And, you know, I'm not giving up, obviously, because I haven't seen my opponent's last one yet. So maybe I should have Mega Evolved. Because it would have reduced Thunderbolt's damage, obviously, and then Return might not have been able to pick up the knockout. But, I don't know. I really wanted to conserve it for the Waterfall if my opponent had Groudon, because this whole game was hinging off the fact, okay, if he has Groudon in the back, then HP Water is what I need. If he, for some reason, brought Bronzong instead. I mean, that really doesn't make any sense. But I'm just going to protect here. Heal all the way back up to 4 HP. And he's not switching out. I mean, I assume my opponent's just playing it safe and smart right now. So that he gets a free switch into the Groudon. Just goes for the Pup in the return again. But, I mean, I feel like this demonstrates why Ferrothorn's so good. My game plan in this really should have been to eliminate Groudon, and losing my Groudon so early on was a big deal. I wonder if Kangaskhan will actually survive this. Yeah, probably will, I think. He'll hang on with a little bit. Yeah. So I could potentially pick up, 2 knockouts here this next turn. So it's going to be a one-on-one, Ferrothorn versus his last Pokemon. Yep, he's just going to Power Up Punch here. Zapdos is max speed as well, as you can tell. And it should faint from the recoil. Yeah. And then Gyro Ball plus Leech Seed probably knocks out Zapdos. But then Groudon comes in and dunks on me. Yeah, he's just going to Thunderbolt. But like I said, if his last one's Bronzong, then I actually win this one. But not really counting on that. As, yep, Zapdos is going to faint from Leech Seed. And I mean, this shows how Ferrothorn is such a good Pokemon in general. Because it has such a nice matchup against so many Pokemon in the format. Like, Thundurus is a very similar role to Zapdos as well. Zapdos goes down, but I think when you look at my team composition, you realize, okay, the only way I beat Ferrothorn is with my Groudon. So unless my opponent really didn't consider that, Groudon's going to be coming in here and finishing the game. But, 0-1 loss in the end. But I feel like, yeah, and it's going to be Groudon. But, you never should forfeit a game unless you know 100% for a fact you've lost, and sometimes your opponent does end up messing up team preview and doesn't bring the Pokemon that you expect him to bring. Or her, of course. But, yeah. That turn 1 really dictated the course of the match. I honestly, I mean, I have to do the calc on Icicle Crash there, because I'm not really sure. Obviously, my opponent was very speedy. Like, Zapdos was max speed because we saw Kangaskhan and Zapdos speed tying, so obviously I had to have a lot of speed investment. Or max speed investment, and you can only split the rest of the EVs between HP and defense. So, I don't know. If, like, the Icicle Crash connects there, and I land the Power Whip, I potentially knock out Zapdos, and you can't set up Tailwind. And then you've got Groudon, or Kyogre heavily damaged, which is a knockoff KO range, Kangaskhan and Groudon. You probably want to bring in Groudon there at that point, to which I can go for the knockoff to try to knock out Kyogre, and then I can bring in my Rayquaza. I mean, at the end of the day, I think I still lose that one because of the turn 1 HP Water, so I really have to be a little bit more careful about that. But great game to my opponent, so you shouldn't underestimate your opponent at any point. Especially, like, I think people can see, oh, their rating's not very high. Like, this will probably be an easy match. Especially, my opponent was in the 1500s, but rating doesn't really mean anything. And not that I underestimated him, but I just really didn't think about the HP Water play, and I should have thought about that a little bit more. Because, it would have made a lot of sense for Kangaskhan to just stay in and go for an attack, and then you render the Groudon useless. So, could have played that definitely a little bit better. Excuse me. I mean, maybe going for a fake out onto Zapdos and switching Groudon out, although I really didn't want the Kangaskhan to get a power-up punch against Weavile, so I let a bit too aggressive there. And that was a game where my own Kangaskhan definitely could have helped out, although I would have had to deal with speed ties against his Kangaskhan and Zapdos. So, a little bit dicey, but we're going to find Diego for our second game with a rating of 1588 as well. So, win here will put us just under the 1800s again. Diego here is rocking a pretty different team from the last one. The Yveltal Groudon core, but with Talonflame, Whimsicott, Mawile, and Cresselia. Not the typical supporting cast that you really see with it. Let's see. My Groudon is definitely going to be really good here. I don't like bringing Cress against Yveltal teams. Kangaskhan's somewhat solid. I mean, double edge one-hit KOs Whimsicott and Talonflame, and I can power up punch potentially. I might actually do that. I like the Kangaskhan Weavile lead with Groudon in the back. Fire Thorn feels good here if I can avoid being knocked out, but I actually think I might go Rayquaza. Like, I love bringing Fire Thorn. That's been my win condition for so many of the games that we featured, but I'm going to keep it on the bench this time around since my opponent does have 2 Fire-type Pokemon, and Rayquaza still puts on a lot of offensive pressure, especially with the Waterfall against Groudon. That's also a big deal. So, he might bring the Mawile here as the lead to get the Intimidates off, but it's actually going to be Cresselia and Whimsicott, which I'm okay with, because I can go straight for a Fake Out or a Knockoff onto Crest and a Double Edge onto Whimsicott. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to go for here. This is a very passive lead from my opponent. He does not have very much offensive presence. So, that's what I've got going for me. Do I want to do that, actually? Yeah, I think I'm just going to knock off Double Edge here. With this lead, it means he probably has Groudon Yveltal in the back, which I'm okay with. But let's see what he goes up for this first turn. How this lead has so many options because Whimsicott's moveset is just so diverse. Oh, he actually just goes straight for the Tailwind. Okay. Crest maybe going for an Icy Wind or a Thunder Wave. So Knockoff gets rid of its potential Citrus. It actually has Mentor, interesting, and does a lot of damage, obviously. And Whimsicott barely goes down there. Although, it surviving actually wouldn't have been too bad because then I could have fainted it. Let's see what Crest goes for. Probably an Icy Wind or a Thunder. Oh, Gravity! I like that a lot, actually. Setting up the Groudon in the back. Good play. So I went really aggro there. Like, going for a Fake Out Double Edge actually would have been a pretty nice play as well. My opponent's going to bring in Groudon now. Kind of makes you wonder what the full moveset is on Crest. Like, because I do have Focus Sash, which could be a big deal. You probably, if that has Helping Hand, that would be a good play to go for as well. I do have Protect on Kangaskhan, which I could take advantage of. I might actually do that, Protect and Knockoff here. Yeah. Because once I stall out Tailwind, then Kangaskhan has a better time in this matchup. Oh, it's got Grass Knot! Wow, that was not something I was expecting, but that's actually a really good move for my opponent to have. And that makes this really scary. Grass Knot Crest, because that just increased the damage potential so much more. Bring out Rayquaza, I think. Yeah, I like that. And I'm going to go for the Waterfall into Groudon. I'm actually going to double up on Groudon. Crest is not a big threat. And I can go for the Waterfall, of course, because Airlock. He is going to Grass Knot. Onto Rayquaza. Now, I might be able to survive that Precipice Blaze, because that literally does nothing. Kangaskhan surviving would be a very big deal here as well. Yeah, and I actually do get the survival, which is nice. Although I might just faint from Recoil here. I will faint from Recoil, yeah. It's going to be a tight finish here, because he's going to have Yveltal in the back. So if I actually had Ferrothorn as my last one, I could have won here, so maybe Ferrothorn would have been the call. So I feel like, yeah, knowing when to bring Ferrothorn and not is tricky. Especially because, you know, it's so much more tempting to just bring Groudon. But this is still definitely winnable, because there's also one more turn to Tailwind. Only one more turn to Tailwind left. Yveltal comes in. Now it comes down to what the Yveltal is packing in terms of its moveset. This is one of the times where I wish, like, Eruption wasn't my only attack, Fire-type attack. Because Groudon's obviously going to be taking a ton of damage here. I mean, I could protect Groudon, actually. But I don't want to do that. I win this game if I knock out Yveltal, because if Crest had Icy Wind there, you would have gone for it. So I think Thunderbolt and 2 Extreme Speeds might knock it out. And the reason why I don't want to protect Groudon here is my opponent might predict that. So I need to be able to get as much damage. I don't think he can pick up a knockout here onto Groudon. We're going to see Foul Play coming. Yeah, he is going to target down the Rayquaza. No, oh wow. I think Eruption there actually could have won it. Grass Knot does way more than I would have liked. No, actually, I don't think he would have knocked it out. Thunderbolt comes so close, but it doesn't pick up the knockout. So unless he's not max speed for some reason, that's going to be game. Yeah, you're going to foul play. It's going to outspeed. He gets a crit. I'm not sure if that mattered, because I don't think I had enough firepower. Like, 2 Grass Knots probably knocked me out. But that's frustrating. Because this Groudon obviously doesn't have any attack investment, as Cress's Grass Knot was actually the MVP and the best move that it had to win this one. That was definitely frustrating. RNG not really being on our side today, although I'm not really sure how much it mattered. This game, I think if anything, I played so high, like aggro on the first turn, and I figured I could stall out Tailwind, I could pick up the win in the end, but I wasn't expecting Gravity and Grass Knot on Cresselia. Like, that combination is actually a big deal because that increases Chris's damage output significantly, whereas if it has Icy Wind, it can't really touch anything. I mean, you can slow me down, but you can't do like significant damage. Trying to think. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, I mean, like, maybe prioritizing knocking out Crest as opposed to Whimsicott, or even going for a fake out turn 1 would have been better. So, yeah, that was definitely a frustrating episode in terms of losses, but I think we learned a lot. Not the best note I really wanted to end the team with, but good learning lessons. It's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.